Did you know that Americans eat more than 3 million sandwiches every day? Hi, you're listening to Curing Curiosity. I'm your host, Christopher, and my guest this week has a podcast of his own. Sorry. The host of the Table Talks podcast, Eddey. How you doing today, Eddey?
I'm doing pretty good. How's it going? My name is Eddey. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, no problem. So, our topic that we will be discussing this week is going to be an interesting one for sure. It's what makes a sandwich.
So this idea keeps me up at night all the time. Just to let you know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. See, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, man. It's it's a fun idea for sure.
It is. I'll be honest. Like figuring out what classifies as a sandwich, I wouldn't say it has kept me up at night, but it's taken a lot of my time to think about. So.
So I've got a question for you in regards to this, man. So
yeah, sure.
Do you think a hot dog's a sandwich or no? I mean, that's the big question everyone's talking about.
That is the big question. Is a hot dog a sandwich? But because a sandwich to me, in my description, is some sort of protein and filling. There's some sort of filling in between two slices of bread, and that's probably the vaguest answer anybody can give when it goes to what is a sandwich. And a hot dog bun isn't really two slices of bread. It's one slice of bread cut in half. It's a small roll of bread just cut in half, but it's still connected, so it's not really two.
But I mean, realistically, when have you ever gone to a birthday party or something where your hot dog bun is stayed as one, right? I mean, usually it splits. And now you're in a real conundrum where it's existential. Am I eating a sandwich? Am I eating a hot dog? What the hell is my life? You know what I mean? It's a big deal.
If your hot dog bun splits, then it's two pieces of bread. When it's not, it's honestly.
So what you're saying is a hot dog can turn into a sandwich. Can theoretically turn into a sandwich.
Theoretically, yeah. If you're logical, yeah.
Wow, that's I didn't know foods could do that. It's pretty crazy, but it's real. I mean, it's insane. So you're saying a protein between two pieces of bread, right? So let's say I'm going to the supermarket and I buy a loaf of bread and a can of beans. Beans is a protein. If I put beans in between two pieces of bread, am I eating a bean sandwich? Or am I just eating beans and bread and I have a more of a bigger problem to deal with?
I mean, I get you can really make most things into a sandwich. I mean, you can put beans in a sandwich. That's still protein. You're still getting
that's weird. That's what it is. It's not okay. It's weird.
Eating a bean sandwich just sounds weird.
If I went to the store and bought lentils, great source of protein. Why the hell would I eat a lentil sandwich? Let alone if I put lentils in a hot dog bun, that's just a bigger problem. Because now it's am I eating a lentil dog? A hot lentil dog? Or am I eating a potentially, it's kind of bad if I was eating that in public too. Could you imagine? I'm at a park bench. This hot girl is like, "What's up, daddy?" I'm like, "What's up, girl? What you mean?" I'm getting my game, whatever. And she's like, "Are you eating lentils between bread?" I'm like, "No, sweet thing. I'm eating a lentil sandwich." But that's a big thing,
I guess you can just make a chickpea salad and put that in a sandwich.
Well, you can see why this is happening. You can see why this is a thing that makes me wonder. Is it weird if I got quinoa, which is a superfood but also a great source of protein, put it between two pieces of sourdough, and thought I was eating lunch?
Oh God! See, I've never had this in deep of a conversation on this topic before. So this is
that's just that. Let's get ethnic about it, okay? Is a taco a sandwich?
Oh,
right?
A taco.
Because masa that made tortillas. I mean, sure, it's not bread, but it's the Mexican bread is what it's. Tortillas are Mexican bread.
I would consider a tortilla a type of bread. It's in the bread category.
Exactly. So
it's a type of bread. Bread.
I want to see. I want to see your reaction to it. If you went up to a really, authentic group of Hispanic construction workers and you said, "Why are you guys eating all those sandwiches?" and they're eating tacos, they would lose their shit.
what? It's like a taco's a sandwich. No, no, taco's not a sandwich. It's like what the hell?
Like,
Because
could you imagine like going to the sandwich truck? It's not really the taco truck anymore because tacos could be theoretically sandwiches if you want to really get deep into it. Like that's a thing, and it's something that everyone's talking about. So it's like, so how do we fix this thing? Because tacos are tacos, but not all tacos, not all sandwiches are tacos, but all or tacos are sandwiches, right?
that's different. That's oh god. I mean, it's like saying
This
if you take like a quesadilla for
you're
example.
contemplating a lot of shit right now in your head right now, Chris.
Yeah, like take a quesadilla for example that you use two tortillas for. Like not the ones that you just fold over. It's like the one that you use two tortillas for. That is technically two slices of bread with filling in between. So you're gonna
Yeah,
make
and
a
cheese is a
quesadilla
protein.
sandwich. It's like
Could you imagine? That's wild.
it's
That is
like
absolutely wild.
it's like, oh, what you're having for lunch? Oh, I'm having a sandwich. Like, no, that's a quesadilla. It's like, no, it's a sandwich. It's like, it's like,
What do you consider? What do you and also let's get into the real category. What do you consider a full protein? Because there's a lot of foods that have proteins in it. So is me putting peanut butter between a tortilla a sandwich still, or is that just me having a more interpersonal problem? Also, what do you consider bread? Is a tortilla bread? Is you know, um, there's so many opportunities. Would you consider a pancake bread? If
okay.
I got 2 pancakes and put some fish between them, sure. I mean, I should be in a mental asylum, but also that's a sandwich.
Okay, I'm just starting to laugh now.
Yeah,
So you have
it's
to look at
wild.
what constitutes as what. Because to me, a tortilla is a type of bread. I classify that as
Absolutely.
a type of bread. Because like sourdough bread, rye is a type of bread. I consider tortilla bread. I consider hamburger buns. It's like let's say a hamburger bun. A hamburger bun is a piece of bread you don't want to eat by itself. Because I don't know anybody who would just take a hamburger bun and eat it like that, just solo. Like you want to put stuff with it. It's like
I
that.
couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
Tortillas are like, I mean, okay, I'll eat one by itself, but not preferable. Like I'd rather have stuff on it. But in
Yeah,
terms
and
of
it's like
like
also bread is bread, right? Do you
exactly,
consider the dollar bill bread? I mean, some people could say that's called bread. Like I'm getting that bread. You know what I'm saying? So
that bread,
if I got $2 bills and put a piece of sirloin steak between them and take a bite, am I then eating a sandwich? You know,
that's a small ass pieces of bread. Think of like a
that's what I'm
sirloin steak.
saying.
I mean, okay,
It's no joke. Two
that's
two two $5 bills, and then in the middle I've got some protein powder. I mean, there are bigger issues to worry about. I get that, but also a problem's a problem. And if I ever saw that in public, I'd immediately call the cops
what the hell
and
you
maybe
do.
pest control and say, hey, figure this guy out because he shouldn't be in public.
It's like I'll be honest. I don't know where the term like using bread to represent like money came from or originated from. It's just I heard it one day. It's like okay, you're calling money bread. I'm gonna get that bread. It's like okay, sure, why not? But uh,
Exactly. So it's a thing. I mean, these are the things you got to think about, Chris. I mean,
yeah,
life's too simple. Life's too simple to be in black and white. You got to think about the big picture, right?
exactly.
Bakeries, right? Bakeries make
Yeah.
bread. Would you
Oh
consider a bank a bakery?
yeah.
Or would you call it a bankery?
A burger. Hmm.
Right? All it
I
does is produce and hold money. It's a gigantic oven.
I think that's reasonable to be saying. If you're saying money is as in bread, like bread as in money, then a bank will technically a bank. Oh god.
Would you consider a fishing boat a source of protein for the sandwiches? You wouldn't call them fishing boats anymore. You'd call them, um, you know, a protein whatever.
Protein
Think of
boat.
the P. Uh, a
That's in topic. Like
protein platoon boat or something. I don't know.
I mean, a fishing boat is typically what you use to fish, but you don't have to use it for fishing. It's just called a
Right?
fishing boat. You fish on it. You
Yeah,
can also fish like off of it. You can just go like barbarian style and just spear fish and just like
let's be honest for what it is, right? So
exactly.
a fishing boat is going to go out and catch fish. It's going to produce, you know, a cleaner meat for people to eat. So that's fine.
Yeah.
But also, are they really just going to be called sandwich boats because they're making protein for sandwiches? That's what it is. Let's not you know take our minds off the big picture. Sure, it's a fishing boat. Sure, these guys have families. One's probably named Martin. I don't know. But the big picture is they're not just catching fish just to catch fish because it's a hobby, because they like to look who got the biggest one. No, they're trying to make sandwiches. I mean, that's their goal. They're trying to make that bread. They're trying to make that sandwich money. You know what I'm saying? So that's it.
If you think about it, you know what? Fish can go towards a sandwich. It can also go towards something else, but no, sandwich. It's like,
No
okay.
sandwich, strictly sandwiches, nothing else. And let's also talk about this. You ever been swimming before, Chris?
Swimming, yes. I've swam before, yes.
And you enjoy it, right? You enjoy, getting, in the water and, swimming and, having fun, right? You enjoy it, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Picture this, Chris. How about this? Let's say you're 8 years old. It's a midsummer's day. Maybe a brisk 93 degrees outside. You're swimming, right? Oh man, I'm Chris. I'm swimming. I'm doing all this thing. What's the first thing? What's the best? What's the first and best thing to do after? You go inside. You dry off. You're still a little bit wet because obviously you went swimming. You
Hmm.
know, your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. I don't know. Dog comes in and says, "Hey, I made you a sandwich. Right? I made you a sandwich,
Uh-huh.
with some chips." That is gonna be the best damn sandwich you've had in your entire life because
Honestly,
I don't know
yeah.
what it is about eating sandwiches, but eating a sandwich after you swim, it hits differently. It
Oh my
it
god,
sits in
yeah.
your stomach, and you're like, "What the hell?" You got the Doritos, the flavor, the orange flavoring coated all over your fingers. That orange flavoring that's basically just radiation because the chips are so damn thick. You're licking your fingers. You got stuff all over your face. You're in your shorts, and you're still kind of wet, and your mom's pissed off because you're sitting on the couch. But whatever. But you're eating a sandwich. You go, Mom, that's the best damn sandwich every time it hits.
Honestly,
So
yeah.
would you be comfortable in saying that sandwiches are a big part of your childhood? Because
I
I
mean,
would.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. I mean,
Peanut
sandwiches.
butter and jelly sandwiches, that shit hits differently.
Exactly. I mean, sandwiches for me, like it can either be lunch, supper, or like just as a snack if you're just like wanting to get something in between meals. Like also, like when I went to school, just having a sandwich, it's just that's great. I mean, you know what's going into it, unless you just your mom or dad makes you like this mystery sandwich and just don't tell you what's in it. It's like, oh, look at that, it's just glue or something. I don't know. It's just, but like sandwiches are just great in general. I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely after swimming, it's like one of the best
It
sandwiches
hits
you ever have. Because like,
ever. And the thing about this too is
mhm.
let's go to the history of sandwiches, Chris.
Oh god.
And as you can see, I'm a connoisseur of the sandwich, so that's fine. But a sandwich is basically human nature's response to being lazy. So back in the day, we used to eat leaves and rocks because we were cavemen and we didn't give a shit, and
Mhm.
dentists didn't exist or whatever. So instead of eating rocks and cutting your fingers, or whatever, we just put two pieces of bread together, and then it tasted a little better or was a little bit easier to eat.
Yep.
That manifested its way into now becoming a big staple of our lives. Shout out to the Wonder Bread. But anyway, the big thing is understanding that like you said earlier, a sandwich can be a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner. Shit, it could be a dessert. An ice cream sandwich. Don't even get me started with
Yes.
that. That's two cookies and a piece of ice cream. Man, butter my buns and call me obese. That's a big deal.
That's
Um, but
heaven.
also breakfast sandwiches. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I love
McDonald's
breakfast
breakfast
sandwich.
sandwiches, that's another level. I don't eat McDonald's that much. I don't even eat out that much, but my two favorite things to eat when I go to fast food is McDonald's breakfast. You got the egg McMuffin, you got the chicken McGriddle. I'm talking bangers upon bangers. You obviously order a hash brown, put that in the middle to make it a supreme, but that's some that's some experience shit. So
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to cuss, but um that's experience stuff. Then you get a Popeyes for lunch. You get that spicy chicken sandwich, and then obviously you have diarrhea for the rest of the day. But it was worth it.
Oof. I've never been to Popeyes because, well, in Canada we don't really have Popeyes. In Quebec,
Man,
it sucks. I
Popeyes
mean,
is good. You got In and
yeah.
Out, the double double. Stop it, man. Stop playing games with my emotions. That's too good.
I mean, honestly, like you're right about like a McDonald's breakfast sandwich. There's like something also like so kind of nostalgic about it. Like kind of brings back to like childhood when like I would just get it sometimes just as breakfast, like a quick breakfast. It's also kind of nostalgic at the same time because it's an egg McMuffin. It's like iconic in some way, even though it's like when you like make it yourself, it's kind of shit compared to like if you make something like that yourself. But you're never gonna have to replace that. Like that is classic to me. At least
Classic.
it's
And
classic
I
to me.
mean, we're gonna talk about goats of the sandwich world. We're talking about the literal best of the best.
The
Nothing.
OGs.
Don't even at me right now. Nothing hits the way that a peanut butter and jelly sandwich hits. I'm sorry. Never.
Hang on.
It is the simplest and easiest way to make a child happy. But holy crap, are you kidding me?
I'll
With the
be honest.
different varieties of butters and jams, dude, I'm all about that life.
Honestly, I'll be honest. I haven't eaten many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in my life. I've had some get here and there. Yeah, they're amazing. I love them. But for some reason, I will create like the weirdest sandwiches ever. Like I will just like see what the hell do I have in my fridge? Put that in between bread. There you go, a sandwich. That's basically like you can just put leftovers in a
Easy.
sandwich. For me,
And what do
I'm
you
not.
think? Do you think it's a? I mean, it's not a coincidence that guys go the whole stereotype where guys are like, "Go make me a sandwich" to their significant other.
Uh
It's
huh.
not a stereotype. Like sandwiches, if I'm sitting on the couch, right,
Uh huh.
I'm sitting on the couch watching sports, thinking about sandwiches like I always do, um,
Hmm.
and watching sports, whatever, enjoy myself. My feet are kicked up, a long day at work, whatever. And my girlfriend, I mean, without a doubt in her mind, just walks up to me and says, "How's it going, babe? I made you a sandwich."
Oh.
My hands will start shaking because I'm like, what? My God, my heart. I would eat a sandwich whenever.
Uh huh.
It's a simple way to show that somebody cares about you, but also sandwiches are bomb. I don't care what it is.
It's just
So
like the perfect midnight snack. You just like go down like 1 a.m. Just like I just want a sandwich. You just throw together
hey,
whatever you have.
and for, for all the listeners, man, if you have a significant other and it's an easy, cheap way to make them happy, make them food. I'm telling you, food can change somebody's mood and attitude so damn fast, and it's so easy. Uh, if you're making food and you have a significant other, you know, whatever you're making for yourself, just make it for them. And if they don't want it, put it back in the fridge. But at least like it shows that you care about them. And if it's a sandwich, if it's
Hmm.
a banging, you know, uh, after Thanksgiving sandwich with gravy, cranberry sauce, and turkey, I'm all about that. You better make me too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, now I'm craving like a leftover Thanksgiving sandwich now. Oh,
Oh,
that's good.
so
Yeah, yeah,
good. I'm
like
starving.
turkey stuffing, cranberry sauce, maybe, and like gravy
Oh,
in
sorry,
between. It's
I'm
okay.
getting the meat sweat just thinking about it.
Same. Like, also to everybody who's listening, if you don't have a significant other, just cook. Like, and you know how like some knowledge of cooking, cooking will get you someone. I don't doubt that for a second. If you cook for someone you're on a date, instead of like going out like to a restaurant and paying like I don't know like 30, 40 some odd dollars on like 2 meals, if you make them something, first off, that's way more considerate than actually just going out because you took the time and made something yourself. But also the time and dedication that it takes, that will show them like, yeah, that's great.
Oh yeah, and first off, you save a ton of money. So
Exactly.
consider the fact that you're either going to spend a third of what you would have spent at a restaurant,
Hmm.
or you're going to spend maybe close to the amount that you would, but you'll have leftovers for days. So it's just covering other meals. Second, I can vouch for that because I cook. So my
Hmm.
girlfriend loves when I cook for her. I make her, all kinds of different breakfast and get creative with it. Don't make the same thing over and over and over again because it's sweet. But when you show somebody else, even if it's your sibling, it doesn't have to be a significant other. But if you show somebody else that you're willing and able to learn and to experiment and try new things, first off, you're just doing yourself a favor in the future. Second off, why not practice on somebody else and get feedback from them so that you can not make the same mistake again. So it's good. And also, if you're making a sandwich for somebody else and you're by yourself, make yourself two. Do it.
Yeah, you're already doing it while you're at it. While you're at it, just make them for yourself.
Exactly. Make two sandwiches
Cookies.
for yourself, eat it, gain weight. I don't know, get depressed later on in your life,
Oh.
lose weight, have this crazy story, have this crazy comeback story, and then, have protein sandwiches for the rest of your life.
It's like sandwiches are also that one thing that you can make a bunch of and just have throughout the week. Like you can just make a bunch on like one day, prepare them. Like even like going on like a road trip or camping, you just make sandwiches and you can store them easily. Just wrap them up, put them in the fridge until you need them. You can just make
Right.
a crap ton in like a day.
Oh, it's bomb. It is fire. So Sandwiches are huge. You can't go wrong with them. I mean, literally
Yeah.
anything between two pieces of bread. Tacos are the most underrated sandwich in the world. Hot dogs. My girlfriend's all about them hot dogs. So sandwiches are
Yeah.
bomb.
So actually, let's get on the topic of open face sandwiches. Just one slice of bread with stuff on it. An open face
Tostada.
sandwich, basically. like
Right.
it's like a tuna melt. Like a tuna melt, you can classify that as like an open face sandwich, but
Right.
that's just stuff on bread. So if we're thinking like an open face sandwich is like toppings on a type of bread, then pizza would technically classify as an open face sandwich. If you're thinking about
True.
it's
Oh, and then if you
stuff
want to get
on
into the
bread.
realm of pizza, that's just you're just doing yourself a favor right there. Calzones, stop. That shit is so good.
Yeah,
Uh,
calzones are amazing.
oh man,
I love
I'm all
calzones.
about all of it. I'm all about all of it. All of it. Biscuits and gravy, a low key banger sandwich. You just throw a piece of sausage between two biscuits with the smother in gravy. I'm talking clogged arteries. I'm talking maybe some possible MRIs, CT scans on your chest. But it's worth it. I mean, you
I
might
remember.
not feel your tongue after you eat them, but it's fine. You might lose your ability to walk, but it's cool.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. But like earlier this week, I remember I made a breakfast sandwich because I found some leftover chorizo sausages in the freezer. So I defrosted them real quick, fried them up, cut them in half, and took a piece of ciabatta and fried them up in the sausage fat, so you can get like nice and crispy and like flavor. Then fried egg on top, and there you go. That's like a nice breakfast sandwich right there. I know it's
Oh, dude,
pretty good.
that's awesome. That would be, and I'm glad that you mentioned the whole cooking thing too, because
Yeah.
it's such a good life skill. My so I'm a little backstory on me. I
Mhm.
am I'm half white, I guess Caucasian you'd say, and then half
Yeah.
Mexican. So like my dad was born in Mexico, did the whole thing, came over to America, and has worked his way up to where he is. But he was
Mhm.
a chef as I was growing up, so he always cooked, and he spoke Spanish. So like for me, uh, I understood a lot of Spanish, and like I could kind of get how to cook, but I never really bonded in the way of like this is really how you cook, Eddie. You know what I mean? Or this is how
Yeah.
you speak. And so like there are some life skills that I missed out on that if you're young enough to get into that stuff early, and I mean it's so stereotypical to say because everyone says it when they're older, but do
Yeah.
it. Learn life
Yeah.
skills. Learn a different language. Learn how to cook. You're only doing things that are gonna benefit you in the long run. You're supporting your future endeavors for anything because you can take care of yourself and you can communicate with other people. Huge.
Exactly. I mean, this is a little going back to I can actually connect to my last week's episode of my podcast, episode 7, self teaching. It's like when you're younger, you're like a sponge where you like retain more information. So it's best to learn like let's say you want to learn a language. It's best to do that when you're younger than when you're older because you will retain more information when you're younger and will continue that throughout your lifetime. If you want to learn how to play an instrument, same thing. To cook as well. Like you should like start those things when you're relatively younger, but like as I said in that episode, it's never too late to learn something. Like for instance, here's the thing: my father's a chef, and he's been chef. I don't remember how many years, but I kind of learned cooking in a way from him, but also watching my mom cook at home. Because like often when I was younger, I remember I would just like look at my mom cooking and see what she's cooking, and sometimes I'll just take a bit of what she's cooking and eat it, and that's just like that's great. I mean, I can do that. And cooking is that thing that takes practice. Like with everything, it takes practice and time to get right. And by no means am I a professional at it. I do not even consider myself amateur. I just know how to do stuff. Because you can
That's
be
good.
like an amazing like you can cook well without going to culinary school. You can just be a home chef and just learn everything through practice and watching and observing. So it's all these life skills that you need or have or want to do is just practice over time. I remember the first
I
thing
totally back you up for
I
that.
yeah,
You're good for that, man.
honestly, I think the first thing I remember learned how to cook was probably an omelet. Like if I'm saying like actual thing, an omelet is one of the easiest things to know. And to like start off,
Exactly.
it's just eggs, and leftovers basically. So I was like, what do you have in the fridge? Just put that into an omelet, and then put that omelet into a sandwich, and there you go, breakfast sandwich. 'Cause I often do that. I'll just turn an omelet
Fire.
into a sandwich because it's great. I mean, I know what's going into it. I know it's gonna taste good, even though I haven't tried it yet.
Perfect. That's good, man. That's good on you. Kudos to you for that. 'Cause that's a huge, huge, huge thing. And there's always more to learn too. And especially like if you want to learn Spanish for that, sandwich in Spanish is sandwich, so it's easy.
Hmm. Yeah. I did take Spanish for 2 years. I'll be honest, and I remember I've never failed an assignment in that class, but I can barely remember anything. I remember I had to learn um, South America, like the countries of South America and their capitals in Spanish. I need to remember where they were on a map. Say the alphabet in Spanish. I had to learn up to 1,000 in Spanish, like 1 to 1,000, all in Spanish. And honestly, probably my favorite class I took in high school. But now I
Super fun.
exactly it's like verbs and actions and learning a language in general. It's going to be complicated if you don't know anything about it. Like
But
you're just gonna
like everything, practice makes perfect. And so
exactly.
one thing that my dad always told me, because my dad played professional baseball in Mexico, so like he was super hardworking, determined, and like worked hard for everything. So he would always say, and it's one of the things that stuck with me, and I've said it on
Mm-hmm.
my podcast many different times,
Yeah.
is people always say practice makes perfect. Sure, that's a good mantra to live by. It's okay, but my dad
Mm-hmm.
would always say practice does not make perfect,
Mm.
but perfect practice makes perfect. So
I'll
what he
say.
means by that, he would say, if you're practicing, that's great, but if you're practicing the wrong thing the wrong way, you're just
Mm-hmm.
learning how to do it the wrong way. So
Yeah.
if you can fundamentally evaluate how you're doing what you're doing and making sure that it's the most efficient and effective possible way, then practicing that way, even though maybe it might be more time consuming, more difficult, and not what everyone else is doing, sure. But in the long run, you're doing yourself a total favor because if you're not practicing the right way, there's no point in practicing at all.
Exactly. I mean, you have to practice it. Practice is always going to help you, but eventually you're going to learn how to do it correctly, and you want to practice that even more because you know that's the right way to do it. And so to get like good at it and to actually like go professional or something in like I don't know baseball, hockey, whatever kind of sport, practice it the right way. So well said, honestly. That's
It's
great.
huge, man. It's stuck with me for a while. It's a great thing to learn. And then also, if you are practicing the right way and you're trying to learn how to cook, why not practice by making a sandwich?
You start off easy and then you slowly work yourself up. It's just
Exactly.
and then eventually you're going to learn how to bake your own bread, which honestly is probably one of the easier things if you want to learn how to bake. Start off
You're
with
going to
bread.
open a bank. You're going to buy a fishing boat or a protein pontoon boat, and you're going to basically we're trying to get you guys to open up a Subway. So figure it out.
It's like a mobile subway on a boat. This is like coming to you, floating soon, floating
That's
soon,
awesome.
a river near you. It's like okay, like
That's great, man.
it comes to like cooking. Cooking, you want to start off easy, so like an omelet or a sandwich would start you off, and then you work your way up. Like when it comes to baking as well, bread is one of the easiest things to bake because it only needs 5 ingredients for like a base like Pullman loaf. It's just flour, water, oil, yeast, salt, and sugar. I 6 ingredients. I'm sorry, I forgot sugar, but it's
That's awesome, man.
it's so easy just to make bread. Eventually, you're gonna get it right because you need to weigh out everything correctly, and that's like one thing when it comes to baking. Baking is a science because you want to be correct, and if something's
Exactly.
off, then it's not going to work.
Well, that's good, man. That's a good thing to live by. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're gonna start wrapping things up here. Um, First off, before we end things, a big shout out to the Food Theorists who gave me the idea of like talking about what makes a sandwich. I will link their video in the description, and if you want to learn more in depth of what constitutes a sandwich, go check out their video and show them some love. Um,
Yeah, do it.
yeah. Anyways, that's all the time we have for this week. Oh wait, sorry. Hold on. Let me redo that again. All right, that's all the time we have for this week. And Eddie, please promote your podcast.
Awesome. I'd love to. So thank you guys for listening. First off, Chris, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. It was
Oh,
super fun.
thank you.
I mean, you know, I'm passionate about a lot of things. You know, my girlfriend, my
Hmm.
family, right, my job, all this stuff. But sandwiches really, they hold a spot in my heart that is near and dear. But
Yeah.
so thank you for that. But in regards to my podcast, I run a podcast called the Table Talks Podcast. It is on Spotify. It is on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. So feel free to look it up. But it's basically like an open forum kind of audience based, audience response kind of podcast. We talk about a ton of fun different things. I interview people. We laugh. We play games. We talk about serious issues. We talk about controversial issues. It's basically an open book, and
Yeah.
the idea of it is just to get a diverse crowd and audience to listen in and be kind of surprised every single episode, and how different it's going to be. So like I've had ones where it's like, would you rather, and then the next one's like, what is your definition of happiness? Like some deeper
Yeah.
stuff, and gotten like responses from friends and family, for me and the guest. And it's just been some good heartfelt stuff, but also like we've played games like would you rather do this and this, and it just it's all over the place in regards to topics. So feel free to like scroll through my catalog and see what hits home for you, what interests you. But yeah, I mean, check it out. It's I usually come from a comedic aspect of it, so I try to make everyone laugh during the show, just for some comic relief. But it's a good show to listen to when you're driving home from work. It's ish not suited for work, kind of. I'm pretty open and uh, to letting my guests kind of say and do whatever they want to not limit creativity. But just know that it's not 100% suited for work, but it's definitely appropriate for most settings. So I hope you guys join us as we laugh, tell stories, play games, and give our input on serious issues. And yeah, check us out.
Yeah. Um, the link will be in the description. Please check them out. I highly recommend it. I remember my first time I listened to an episode, I laughed like I don't know how many times in the first 8 minutes. So I highly recommend check them out. Check him out. He does some amazing work. So show them some love. And once again, thank you, Eddie, for joining me this week in this episode and give me your input on what makes a sandwich. And I mean,
Thanks for having me, man.
no problem. All right, guys. See you next week, and perhaps this year your curiosity. Bye, guys.